All right, everyone. We are live. Hello and welcome. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Pastrami Nation Podcast. I'm Kevin. Joining me today, the usual Castellanos. We also have a very special guest joining us. So, of course, we have my son, Elijah. What's going on, man?
Been causing chaos on the streets of Los Santos. That's what's been going on.
Oh, yeah. You're on spring break. So, been playing some GTA. Why not? Why not? And, of course, co-founder of Pastrami Nation himself, Mr. Jason Smith. How you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Good. Happy to be here. Excited to be here. And of course, Godfather of Toys, Mr. Christian Nacorda. How's it going?
It's good to be here. I'm talking into Mike directly. My microphone.
Yes.
I love it. And y'all, our special guest today, she's a cosplayer. Amazing. I've been checking out her Instagram. Some really, really cool cosplays. Very, very cool stuff. Y'all might know her as Ms Marauder. Thank you for joining us, Sarah. It's really nice to have you here to be chatting with us today.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you here. And so before we jump into the episode, the meat of the episode, first of all, I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for checking out the show. As always, like and subscribe, share the show if you can. That really, really helps us out a lot. So y'all, this weekend in LA, WonderCon is happening, one of the biggest Comic-Con events in Los Angeles. And y'all are going to be attending this year. So Sarah, I want to kind of ask you real quick. So how long have you been going to Comic-Cons and cosplaying in general?
So I don't know how long I've been going to Comic-Con, but I was cleaning my house the other day and I found the WonderCon booklet from 2014.
Oh,
so at least since 2014.
That's when it first came to Anaheim, if I remember.
Yeah. Right? I will assume that I was probably thinking it would be fun, but it's too far. It's in LA or Long Beach or wherever it was. And I was like, oh, Anaheim, that's right, right down the block. So I'll go. At least since 2014. And with the cosplaying, it started off, I think as a lot of cosplayers start off with just going way too hard for Halloween, like harder than you need to go. For us, it was going to the the Disneyland Halloween events. And I made a Daenerys Targaryen from scratch to go to Florida for the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party.
Nice.
In 2011, I think I did that. And then I was kind of dabbling with it, but I had a lot of, everyone does such a good job. I'm not going to do that good of a job. And then my daughter was born and I thought, oh, this is a fun way to start doing it, because the great thing about having a small baby that's cosplaying is that, you don't have to do that good of a job because they're so cute that will compensate for the fact that you're hot gluing things because you don't know how to sew. So the very first cosplay we did was in 2017, and actually our very first con was WonderCon. She was about 3 months old.
That's awesome.
And I was Squirrel Girl and she was Tippy Toe, her little squirrel sidekick.
That's so
cute. She dressed up as a student in Deadly Class, one of our favorite comics, because we went to Rick Remender. Woo! So there is a picture of Rick Remender with my 3-month-old baby in full Deadly Class cosplay.
Amazing.
So now the benefit is she's old enough to like stuff and request cosplays on her own.
That's very cool.
That's a double-edged sword, though, because she knows that I can make her cosplay. So every time she watches something, it's like, can you make me that?
That's awesome.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I know, Christian, you've dabbled in cosplay yourself.
I wouldn't say that I'm a cosplayer per se, but I am very cosplay adjacent. My partner for the last 11 years is a hardcore cosplayer. I have costumes that she made, all of them. But it's fun. I have nothing but appreciation for cosplayers on every end, from the people putting bags over their heads and saying they're Venom to the people that are it's more than cosplay. It's full costume, and you guys are finding materials, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but it's all love. We do it for the love of the character, for the love of the properties, and just to be out with the community. Huge fan of what you guys do. Talk us through your process with what was the last costume you put together?
The costume that I'm actually finishing tonight for WonderCon is Nimona.
Yes.
So my daughter is
I
gonna
love
be
Nimona so much.
I'm not I build my cosplay skills. So I started off where I would buy like basics and then modify them, right? And then I was like, okay, I'm good at 3D printing.
I see your filament printer behind you
and
too.
Then it was,
so.
thank you, yes. And then it was like, okay, now I know how to sew. The final boss of it for me is wig styling. I have in the past just dyed my hair instead of wearing a wig. That's easier. But I finished her Nimona wig the other day, which I'm very, which is funny because it's essentially my haircut is what her hair looks like. So I have to replicate that. So she's doing Nimona, and I am doing a giant inflatable pink shark. So I'm doing the shark version of Nimona to go along with her.
I love that.
Which is nice because it's rare that I get an easy one to do. But essentially the process is either I see a character and go, oh yeah, I'm doing that. Or she sees a character she wants to do. And then I actually use the app called Cost Planner. And what you can do is just plan out every part of it. So the things you need to buy and the things you need to make. And for the things you need to make, you can track the progress. So like if I have something printed but not painted, I could put it as like 30% complete. And it does it down to the percentage point of how close you are to finishing it. So you just line it all up.
What is the name of this app?
Cost Planner.
Oh my God. Okay. Amazing.
Yeah. You can add in reference photos. You can do a budget. I've never done a budget because I don't want to know.
Where's the fun in that?
Yeah, exactly. And then genuinely my process is to rewatch the property with my phone up to the screen and take a million reference photos.
Okay. Obsessive, right?
Color,
Like that's,
yeah.
I think that's the kind of personality it takes.
Yeah. Because then for your shopping list, you want to know. So yeah, I recently made her a Sabine from the live action Sabine from Ahsoka. And there is a scene, and I'll always be grateful to Dave Filoni for this. There's a scene where she is getting her armor back out again because she hasn't worn it in a while, and she lays everything out, and there's like a shot of each thing on the table. So that's
Cosplayer
my entire. Yeah, I was like, he did that for the cosplay. That was for us. It was like a clear shot of the colors, everything.
If only every filmmaker would do that for their characters.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's fabric shopping. So my favorite place to shop for fabric is called Remainders. It's a place in Pasadena that is like a craft and fabric thrift store. So they've got like scraps that you can buy. Their scraps are like fill a bag for $10, get a second bag for free.
Really cool.
Nice.
They have just amazing, fabric, usually like $4 a yard for however fancy the fabric it is. So yeah, fabric shopping, and then you get to the hard part of putting it all together.
Okay. So, here, let me ask you a question. This is like a super technical cosplayer question. When it comes down to picking a material, when it comes down to it, like let's say you have two materials, one that is the accurate material that was used on screen, or B, not the one that was used, but looks more accurate to like what it looks screen. You know what I mean? Like this matches the look of it screen used. The actual screen was used one doesn't look necessarily like Arwen's dress for example, right? Like the actual material looks very different than after, but you can buy materials that look closer to.
I always go. So I'm a single mom, so I go with the cheapest material that looks
understandable.
Right. Also, I am a plus size cosplayer, and I cosplay a lot of male characters. Mm-hmm. So and my daughter is 7, so she's always the tiny version of the character. So even if I put together the most perfect screen accurate cosplay of all time, I'm still not going to look like, we did Ellie and Joel from The Last of Us.
Right.
Still not going to look like Pedro Pascal. Like literally nothing I could do to make myself look like Pedro Pascal. So
it doesn't matter though.
If I don't have the exact shirt that he used, a distressed denim shirt will be fine, right? Yeah. So I usually go with what's going to be most comfortable, especially for her because she's, small, comfortable and cost efficient and as close as possible. But there will be like very, kismet times where it's like, oh, this is the fabric. Like somehow in this bin, this is that happened with Hera. I did Hera to go with her Sabine. It was like, this is the shirt. Like this, it looks exactly. Yeah, I was sitting in the fabric store being like, what just happened? Because I'm looking at like zooming in. I'm like, this can't be. But yeah, it was pretty much just, a piece of scrap, couple yards. That was pretty much a perfect match.
Oh, that's so cool. That's
Sweet.
so perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So as someone who's never cosplayed before, like if he's been looking into cosplay for a long time. I've thought about it, but like he's really looking to get serious. Him and my daughter both. Like they really, really want to get into it. What are some tips and advice you'd give someone who is preparing to cosplay for their first con? Do you have any words of advice or words of wisdom to them to move forward with their plan once they actually figure out what they want to be?
My biggest advice, and this is going to sound like a joke, but it's not, is to pick a character with an easy outfit. So you probably shouldn't do like the Mandalorian for your first
Right.
My daughter loves anime, and we do. She does a lot of My Hero Academia cosplay, and my go-to any character, most any character she does in My Hero Academia, I'm Aizawa, because he wears black pants, black shirt. He's got a scarf and he's got the glasses, and that's all I had to make.
What were you looking at doing
from My Hero?
I thought you were looking at.
I was looking at doing Shinichiro Sano from Tokyo Revengers and Red Hood.
Yeah.
Red Hood's, I think, doable. I think you could probably pick up a helmet somewhere. The rest of it you can source at like a thrift shop.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
People that wear regular clothes are always going to be the easiest to cosplay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Things that you can, and kind of planning out, like with Red Hood, okay, I know I can do this and this and this. I just have to figure out this one other thing.
Yeah.
Same thing with, even if you're doing a Mando, it's like, okay, I'm going to buy a jumpsuit, right? I used, when I first started mine, I used like Dickies coveralls and just took off the tag, because that's, it's going to be covered with everything. It doesn't really matter. So buying regular clothes and modifying them to make it a cosplay is like my go-to. You should always start there. And there's nothing wrong with buying a cosplay. If you find it and it looks good, you might have to add some stuff to it to make it perfect. But there's a lot of people that will say, oh, if you didn't make it yourself, it's not a cosplay. But that's not true. The only reason I make my own is, again, I am plus size, so they don't fit me most of the time.
Right.
And she's tiny, so it won't fit her either. So we have kind of stumbled into having to make all of ours from scratch.
Well, even costumes will run small, because I worked at a Halloween store for a season, and like I thought I'm gonna try on I'm bigger, so I thought I'm gonna try on the double XL whatever, and no, sorry, Halloween store, a few stitches may have ripped, but
yeah, especially anime costumes. Is like a 3XL in an anime costume is essentially a medium, at least for women's sizing. So you're like, okay, I gotta. But yeah, finding a character that has some regular clothing options that you can modify to make it, I think, is the best way to start. And then as you get more confident in your skills, being like, okay, let's take on a more advanced character.
I think for a lot of cosplayers too, like costumes are kind of liquid a little bit, because you're constantly like, oh, I can come back and improve it whenever. You know what I mean? If you find the right piece, or you come across something, or you develop a new technique, like you can always go back and like replace a jacket or replace something,
Yeah, my first attempt at Din Djarin was made of EVA foam, and it looks awful. It's like embarrassing. I was like, EVA foam is not my talent. People can make amazing things out of foam. That's not a strong suit of mine. But it I think I went through like 4 versions before I got him to where I wanted him, and I don't wear him anymore because there's a lot of very muscular 6-foot-tall dudes that do him perfectly. Right. So I'm like, you know what? We're gonna hang him up on the shelf. He doesn't get worn anymore. But we have like custom Mandos now, and there's a very big Mandalorian community that have made their own original designs that we get to hang out with and meet up with. So that's even more like, that's really fun to do original Mandalorian characters. That's been a fun thing, because you don't have to worry about things being screen accurate. You can make it your favorite color, right? You can add stuff you like. Basically. Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like the helmet that you showed us before. Do you want to kind of show it on camera, or
that would be fantastic.
Yes,
sweet.
My daughter did a mashup. We did a mashup in Kanto and Mandalorian. So hers is Mirabelle themed.
Cool.
Mine is Bruno themed, so it's
We don't talk about Bruno.
It's got the little cape poncho thing and has little hourglasses on the pauldrons. But hers, I tried to recreate what Mirabelle's dress looks like in The Mandalorian. So like her top part is all white and it has like the butterflies that go around her top. She has the bottom. She's got like a skirt that goes around it with the hand embroidery. And I made all of that from scratch. So that was that's a fun thing because then you can brainstorm from scratch what you want it to look like, as opposed to the meticulous note taking when you're making something that already exists.
Yeah, what are you gonna say?
Have you ever tried cosplaying characters like President Mike or like Shigaraki from the League of Villains?
I cosplay. Whenever my daughter Evie is doing a hero or a student, I'm always Aizawa. And then when she does Hawks, she has a Hawks cosplay, and I do twice. So the only person from League of Villains I've done is twice. She though has done Toga. We have friends, so we have a very big group of friends in the anime cosplay community that do a lot of different My Hero. So it's also one of those things of like, we've got a Shigaraki, we've got someone that'll do Dobby, so I don't ever have to. But it's also hard when you're cosplaying with your daughter. You don't want to like cosplay something that people ship. So when she did Hawks, she was like, you should be Dobby. And I was like, no, because everybody wants them to kiss. So that's I'm gonna not
after the war arc though.
I'm gonna not do that. Yeah. So yeah, she's the overachiever in the My Hero. I always am like, Aizawa was my go-to. But we have friends that have done Dobby and Shigaraki and done like the liquid latex and all that kind of stuff. Wow. Yeah.
What is, of all the costumes that you made, what is like your crowning achievement? Like you're most proud of costume? That's not a sentence.
Thank you for phrasing it that way, because people do ask me my favorite, and I'm like, and then I end up saying like 10 different cosplays. I'm like, they're all my favorite for different reasons. But the one that I'm most proud of is our Hera and Sabine.
Awesome.
So we did Hera and Sabine from live action. We actually we didn't know her, but our friends knew her. Shauna, the costume designer, passed away really unexpectedly this fall when I was in the middle of designing it. And so it kind of lit this fire under me where I was like, I was just going to kind of source some stuff. But all of a sudden there was this like, okay, I was just making it because I love Rebels, right? Yeah. Obviously, I'm a big Rebels fan. But then it became like this weird, I'm doing it somehow to like honor Shauna because Shauna designed this and put so much work into it. So everything on my daughter's Sabine, other than the shoes, is made from scratch. So the jumpsuit, the belts, the armor, everything that's on her is made from scratch. And,
can I ask you a question about your hair? What did you do for the headpiece? Like,
it's silicone. I do. I have it.
You did silicone. Crazy. Oh, I gotta see this. Oh my god, I can see it moving. Oh, okay.
He's right here.
Headphones. You painted that? You painted it with silicone?
I didn't. I did commission this because I can't do. I was like, I looked up a tutorial, but yeah, there's a woman named Twilight Pam who's like the Leku distributor of the contiguous 48 states. This is hers. But I did make the flight cap myself and the goggles myself. It was sitting over here because it was being repaired because
I love the
goggles break every time.
Are those Audio-Technica headphones? They look like my headphones.
No, they're 3D. They might be. That might be the. But yeah, they're always kind of
so awesome.
Yeah.
Can I show you? Okay, so Dana did Ahsoka, and she made her Lycus. I didn't make this, but I just want to show it off. She did not do silicone. She desperately wants to do the next one she does. She's going to do silicone. Yeah, I'll be right.
Yeah. I looked up for a while. I looked up tutorials on it, and then I was like, nope, that's not. I'm going to end up investing like $300 in trying to learn how to make this and still not make it very well.
Nice.
Well, at least give it a shot,
So like, I'm obviously not going to put it on or anything. But yeah, It's like pretty well done. It's soft. So this was such a process, and this is also the 4th one that she did.
Yeah.
She also, somebody commissioned her to make one too. I mean, obviously the silicone like feels more natural. This is still really light on her head.
Yeah.
And it kind of fits her perfectly. This is all like handmade by her. So this was you can kind of see like the stuffing. She did like furniture stuffing on the
like
inside.
insulation foam. Yeah, that's what's all.
Yeah, this is EVA foam. These are 3D. Yeah. So we have a 3D printer too. We have a what do we have? We don't have a filament printer. She has a resin printer. It's a small. The bed's only like 3x5, like 3.5 by 5, tiny. So her armor pieces too. We had to like section it off by quarters and then like piece it all together. Yeah. But yeah, nothing but respect. That is such.
I will say, piece. When you are wearing silicone lacquer, people will ask you to squeeze it. They'll be like, "Can I touch it?"
It's
a nice little. It's got some good give.
Yeah.
But they'll also be like, "Is it weird if I ask?" I'm like, "It's not a part of me. This is don't pull it." Yeah, don't pull it. Yeah, don't be weird about it. But yes, you can touch it.
And there's some weirdos at Comic Cons, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know why, but yeah, Twi'leks people are very weird about Twi'leks sometimes. But Hera is such a mom that people don't get too weird about her.
You command respect.
And her Sabine helmet is
there. It is
right there. Hold on, let me bring it down.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Okay, because that is not a normal size helmet. So I'm guessing this is handmade or like printed. Okay. So what's the process of you guys making this helmet? I'm assuming you guys made it.
Yes.
Gorgeous, by the way. My God. Incredible. Printed?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
Okay. Yes. Beginning to end, what do you think? Hours? Like sanding, painting, priming, assembly, painting, all of it.
I don't know, 80, 100?
Yep. That's
probably.
About right.
So we were lucky enough to go to San Diego Comic-Con last year, and they had the Ahsoka.
Yep.
Like they had Sabine's helmet on display. So genuinely, there are about 40 pictures of my phone of me taking a picture, moving an inch, taking a picture. Yes. So I had a 360 view of what it looks like. There is a great guy on Instagram, and I'm also on his Patreon. His name is Josh, and he does files. Like you could tell he's up. Like once he sees it on TV, he's like, I have to do it. When the Loki finale came out, he posted in his stories. He was like, yes, I'm making it. And the next day he had files for that headpiece. I'm like, this is a problem, but I'm going to reap the rewards of it.
It's a good problem.
I mean, hey, if he's making money, is it really a problem?
Yeah. So he had the files posted, and the great thing about him is the hard thing about Sabine is, she's an artist, so there's no plain colors. Everything's got a design on it. And when he makes his, he puts paint lines.
Oh, so they're sculpted in. That's helpful.
There wasn't on the helmet, tragically, but on the gauntlets, especially because she has that like almost like zigzag lines on the gauntlets. It's like little indentations for where you put the paint.
So as a painter, like that's incredibly helpful.
Oh yeah,
obviously. So for the helmet, you had to mask everything, like you're drawing everything, masking everything, taping it.
Hand painted, yeah.
Jeez, are you airbrush? Or are you like what are you?
Nope. I'm just old fashioned spray paint. And
okay, as long as you're spraying.
Well, I'm spraying. Yeah. Well, she is. This is spray paint. The base is spray paint, but everything is hand painted with acrylic paint.
Can you just? It's so gorgeous. Can you hold that up? Oh my God,
that is amazing.
That is like
she broke the stock at LA Comic Con.
It's professional. Like it's so good. It's so gorgeous.
My number one Mandalorian hack of all time is the visor. I always have red tape on the inside of mine. If you go to Daiso, where everything is like $1.50, they sell those visors. I don't know if you've ever seen the old ladies that have the sunglass visor that goes over their whole face. Get one of those. It costs $3. You can cut it up and put it in here.
Oh, that's so cool.
So people.
Okay, well, you answered my question without me asking it.
A lot of people use like the welding mask stuff, but that's so expensive.
They do. They're so expensive. They're really rigid and hard to cut. Whereas these, it's
right through scissors.
Yep. Chop it through.
Yeah, you wear glasses now. How does that work with a helmet? Do you need to take the glasses off, or because I had the same problem? If I put a helmet on.
These are blue light glasses that I only use on my computer, and
okay, so you don't need
for my students, so I don't actually need them.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Somebody blind like myself.
My other thing is you have to have like you get glasses defogging spray. You have to put that on your visor, or your visor will fog up, and you won't be able to see.
Oh yeah,
I learned that one the hard way.
Yeah, I used to paintball, and paintball helmets were a gripe because I needed my glasses to see. And I finally found a helmet that was big enough where I could wear my glasses under it, but then the fogging issue came up, so
Yeah.
Can you imagine paintballing in a Mando helmet? You'd be the most badass mother effer.
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
Or our trooper armor.
Yeah,
I totally would do that. You need armor for paintball too, because those things hurt.
Yeah. I don't know that I would wear any trooper helmets though, because they were a bad shot for a reason. So it's hard to see out of.
I was gonna say, if you wear glasses, you could probably just take them off because you can't
see anything anyway.
See anything anyway. So
visibility is low.
I mean, I'd wear Rex's because he like custom designed his own just about anything.
I got it right here, and I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna tell you right now. I literally just got this morning. I can't hear anything. What I'm gonna put on the visibility on all. Here, let me. There's a General Kenobi. You need it upstairs. I don't know if it's coming through anyway. I can barely see out of that thing.
It did not voice modulate at all, but you sounded, it was uncanny.
Yeah, it's 100%. So I have a question. So when you're at Comic-Con, right, you're in full cosplay, you're ready to go. I've just been curious myself because I'm the person that's like, well, a lot of times I'm covering the Comic-Con, so I'm asking for pictures constantly with as many cosplayers and stuff like that. And I notice a lot of other people coming up being like, hey, can I get a picture with you and stuff like that. What's that feeling like? Like, is that something that I'm just curious as someone who just goes to Comic-Con, is that something that cosplayers generally just enjoy hardcore? Is that, I mean, I'd assume that's a lot of the reason they're there, right? I know it's a weird question, but like, is it, is there ever a moment where you're just like, I just want to hang out and have fun? Or are you just always kind of out there being like, yeah, let's do it. I'm just curious from a fan perspective, someone who goes.
So 95% of the time it's fantastic because it means people like your cosplay.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Work. And it can also be very gratifying. Like our Hera and Sabine, we wore it for the first time at LA Comic-Con this year. And just the amount of people, because my daughter's cosplays are always out of the park, right? She's always very cute. People love her.
Right.
And I'm always kind of like the accessory, right? There's been times where people didn't even realize I was in a cosplay because they were like, oh, she's so cute. And what are you? And I'm like, oh, thank you. But the people were really excited. They want to take a picture of Hera. And then we're like, oh, and you have a Sabine. And I was like, that's nice. That feels nice.
Yeah.
The only time is like when we're clearly sitting down and eating, or like half of our cosplay is off because we need to sit down for a minute, and people be like, can I get a picture? And it's like, no, not at this. Like I'll have a sandwich like halfway in my mouth and someone will ask for a picture. That's like the only time. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been walking through like Comic-Con.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming sometimes if you're not expecting it. So like Hera and Sabine are kind of universally loved. People get very excited. People always get excited to see a tiny Mandalorian. But a couple years ago, we did a Christmas themed My Hero Academia group. So there was like 10 of us. And there's an episode in My Hero Academia where they have a Christmas party. So we essentially replicated their outfits from the Christmas party. Aizawa doesn't have one, but I knit a 35-foot long Christmas scarf for myself and wore that. And my daughter was in Aerie. So she was 6 at the time, or 5, almost 6, 5. And she did Aries, which is like a little Aerie claws. She's got like the horn. Aww. And we genuinely could not get 5 feet on the con floor. Oh. Like we were trying to like shop and look around at the exhibit hall, and like we couldn't walk. And I think it was because it was Christmas and it was cute. And there were so many of us that usually, you can have a group of 2 or 3 cosplayers that are in theme, but to have like, there was solidly like 10 of us. So
people want a picture with a good cosplay,
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember,
so it can be surprising sometimes.
remember Emerald City Comic Con when they actually had it in December that one year? And like there was so much, I had never seen so much like Christmas cosplay in my life. Like it was the most incredible thing because they had to move it because of the pandemic. So they moved it to December and they pushed it back from February to December and that year. And it was actually pretty incredible seeing something because it's different, right? It's unique. You don't see a lot of Christmas cosplay.
And now they do, and now people do Easter themes. They do their little bunny outfits on Sunday, usually of Emerald City. This year they're moving LA Comic Con back now because it used to be in October, then they moved it to December because of the pandemic, and now they're moving it back to October.
Nice.
But luckily, there's also Halloween.
That's way better. Yeah.
Also Halloween drawings of all the My Hero Academia characters in different Halloween costumes. So
well, Halloween's like a month-long kind of event to me, you know, like October. I just, you see people out on every weekend in October, some kind of costume party and whatnot.
For this household, Halloween is year-round. We watch horror movies 365.
No, I got a question for everybody. What is the best cosplay you guys have seen, like at a convention, like or most memorable?
At this last one, I saw this guy who was doing a Kento Nanami from Jujutsu Kaisen, and he was like built for it too. Like he was pulling it off.
Yeah, I got to think about that. I've seen so many cool ones. What about you, Jason? What was your favorite one?
Mine, the one that stuck with me the most, it was one of my it had to be like one of my first 3 or 4 Comic Cons, like San Diego Comic Cons I went to with my brother. And there's this guy, he had a legit Flash costume, but every time we saw him, he was running wherever he was going around just to stay.
What else is he supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly. So like, it was funny to see it, you know, because every time we saw this guy, he was running. We saw him on the sidewalk running, saw him through the convention center running.
I love when a cosplayer is really dedicated to the cosplay like that. We at ALA last year, Anime Los Angeles, there was an Eren Yeager cosplayer, I think, who was like hauling a giant boulder, but like he had his arm tied up to it, and we saw him at one point, and his arm was solidly like purple.
Oh
no! Like, you got to take that off, man.
That is too much overcommitment.
This is a problem.
Yeah, it's hard, man. There's so many good ones. You know, where I see a lot of crazy cosplays too is at the Ren Fair. I don't know how often you guys are going to Ren Fair, but the medieval and like the fantasy side of all the cosplay stuff is a lot of fun to see over there too. It's difficult because you know you work so hard in your costume, then you're walking around in dirt all day. So you know, like the bottoms of your costume are gonna get pretty messed up. But yeah, elaborate dresses. I don't know, man. I still like there's a predators like full on like just like you're slimy, dude. That's how did you just come out of the dressing room? Like that's how did you do that? Like, are you real? I think I'm gonna die. Yeah, I love seeing, but again, I don't want to just credit the people that have the resources, you know, to be able to, because there's people that can do amazing things with, you know, what they have, and like that's really what it's all about. It's like going out and representing the thing you love and sharing with the other people that love it. But yeah, also there's I think you guys might have seen before. He does like a juggernaut. He's like kind of walking on stilts.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Like he's in a big old one of my favorites though. This is like old school. This is like 2005. He used to do the rounds in San Diego, but it was the Elvis Darth Vader. I don't know if he was there every year. Yeah,
I remember him.
My favorite. I love every time. It was so fun. It was always the same costume, and it was always made me laugh. And then there was the Hello Kitty Vader. I love that one too. But yeah, I love like the mashup Star Wars stuff. So Power Rangers at Morphicon, New Horror Character ones, Michael Myers, Sam, Freddy, Pennywise, Jason.
I remember when Arturo dressed up as the Blue Ranger. It was one Halloween. He did it for Comic-Con Revolution.
I've got a special place in my heart, even though I am unfamiliar with the franchise at all, for Five Nights at Freddy's cosplayers, because they go so hard. I have some friends. I think that her daughter is maybe 11 or 12, and she's had like the full body cosplay of Freddy Fazbear, and I'm like, we got a Springtrap last year that like almost made me start crying at ALA because he's like the eyes lit up and he had like a voice box and he had the full like committed to the bit. And we did the kids cosplay contest at LA Comic Con last year, and there was like 5 or 6 of them in the full get up, and they were like
so cool.
during the judging were like still in character on stage, like twitching, and it's like, you guys, like, they are some of the most dedicated and creative people I've ever seen, because they'll do the different versions of the characters. They do like a human version of the character, or they'll make the full animatronic, and I'm like, you guys, I don't know anything about this. I know it's evil Chuck E. Cheese. It's before my time.
Mechanical puppet
yeah.
shit.
And I'm like, I know someone was like, I liked one video on TikTok about it, and all of a sudden it was like, here's a 3-hour video essay on the lore. And I was like, no.
That's a pretty good yeah. That works for it.
As far as like because there are so many like different like subgenres within, and like, you know, obviously like there's all the big Star Wars group, there's always a Marvel DC group. One of the big groups that I always see is the Borderlands group. The game has been, you know, for a while, but like the community of Borderlands cosplayers, it's so cool, like them doing like the cell shading look and like all the line work on the costumes and then the makeup. Like, it's so much fun to see, and it's just cool to see so many people like all from the same thing, all dressed up. It's like surreal, like seeing everybody on the stairs for the big group shots.
Yeah, we after this sometime last year, I think it was after the big Star Wars meetup, we had a Mandalorian meetup, and there's a picture of like,
it's epic.
There's got to be like 100 of us, 120 of us in our different Mando gear, and I was like, this is delightful.
Any they take that shot up the stairs, like on the outside of the convention.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Maldalorians.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We always got them all. My friend BK does an Ursa Wren that she made from scratch. That's actually, before she got a 3D printer, would make everything from cardboard. I was like, that's witchcraft. I don't understand.
You know, between the cardboard and then I think she graduated to the before the EVA foam, it was the Warbler. God, Warbler sucks. I hated Warbler.
Can't do anything with Warbler.
She did that whole Daenerys, one of Daenerys's dress. I think it was from season 2. She had like a really intricate. She sculpted it, cut it all out of Warbler, only for it to like melt in the card to itself after like 18 hours of cutting.
That's bullshit.
It's such a nightmare. Yeah, and you're no joke, dude. EVA foam sculpting is not easy. Like the things that some people
I can imagine.
Shout
out Kamui Cosplay. Shout out like all of those crazy EVA foam artists out there.
Yeah.
That is a whole new craft. That's really hard.
Yeah, that's honestly, I think this is true with anything, but especially for me with cosplay, it's like I gotta know what I can do and what I can't do. Like there's certain things where I'm like, I can probably learn how to do that. Like I've gotten much better at sewing in the past probably year. But there's just, you can only try to do EVA foam so many times before you're like, it's not a skill set that I'm I'm really good at. I always say that I do crafts. I'm just really good at following instructions.
Yeah.
And not to, diminish my skills, but like 3D printing, you got the dimensions, you measure it, you print it, and then it's just a matter of following, sand it, prime it, paint it, sewing, same thing. You got a pattern you put together, and it takes a lot of effort, but it's just following directions. Whereas with the EVA foam, I'm like, I can't make it work. I'm sorry.
I think like my background is fabrication. I'm an artist, but I also come from the toy making. I worked at a toy company for like 10 years. So like 3D printing, all of that stuff, like it's the sanding, the painting, the priming, all of it. It's like meditation to me. I love it. It's not fun. Believe me, it's not fun. But then you kind of find a special place in your brain to go. But yeah, Dana's all self-taught with it. Same as you, like learning the stuff to be able to make the stuff that you want to make, same like God, that smell of that barge cement for the EVA foam is a nightmare. Like that'll burn a hole in a wall. Like
I actually do kind of like it.
I gotta leave the room after a while.
Put you in a good mood.
Yeah.
Like
I had to use some foam for Evie's for her Nimona, because Nimona's got kind of like a collar thing happening, and I did make that out of foam, so I had to bust out the barge. I was like,
yeah, I'll wake you up, man.
Yeah.
Very cool.
What is your dream cosplay to make? Like if you could make any character, like what is your is there one, or have you done it already, or
can I start this?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Jacob Fry from Assassin's Creed.
Ooh, that's
Syndicate.
cool.
That would be really cool.
Jacob
That'd be really
Froy.
cool.
I remember, it's been a long time. With the top hat and like the long coat.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. And his sister's name was Evie. There you go.
Yep.
There's another tie-in.
Oh yeah, another person that my daughter's named after. She's named after. Technically, people think she's named after the Pokemon. But her name is Evelyn after Evelyn in the Mummy.
Oh, that's
my favorite movie.
Very
Nice.
good choice. Good choice.
Yeah. It sounds it's kind of almost sad, but I do think that Hera is my dream cosplay. I love wearing Hera.
That's cool.
I'm very proud of how my Hera came out. She's my favorite. She's like my favorite character, probably my favorite fictional character of all time. But every time we start watching something new, there's a new character we want to cosplay from. My daughter is very into Willy Wonka right now, so her idea, she wants me to do a Willy Wonka themed Mandalorian, and she can do
that would be amazing.
Grogu, right? She now is like, hey, I just realized people make their own Mandalorians. Can I make my own Spider-Man though? And I was like, yes, you can. So
Nice.
it's really just, I think that Hera is just my number one, and I love her very dearly. But then it's one of those things where Hera's my number one, and then the other 20 cosplays I've done are tied for number two, right?
Nice.
There's only been a couple that I wasn't happy with, where I made it and I was like, we're never wearing that again, or I'm gonna really upgrade it before the next time I wear it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you publicly revealed what you're wearing for WonderCon, or is it a secret under wraps?
I have.
Okay.
So Friday we're doing Nimona.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I'm
excited.
gonna be the giant pink shark version of Nimona when she shifts into a shark.
Yeah.
And then my daughter's being regular Nimona. And then Saturday we're doing Hera and Sabine.
Yes.
For the Star Wars meetup. So there's a Star Wars meetup on the stairs at noon. And then I've got a panel right after that. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna come to the panel about education, about being a teacher, and I'm gonna do that in full cosplay.
No, we didn't even talk about your panel. You're gonna be you're hosting there, correct?
No, I'm a guest on a panel.
Your guest is really cool.
Yeah.
And you said it's about education in cosplay?
Yeah, it's actually about comics and education. So I teach at least one class per semester on graphic novels and reading them as literature. And I'm hoping that from the goodwill that I've gained from doing like nonfiction, the classy comic books, that next year they're going to let me do like, let's read Daredevil, right? That they're going to let me
at my
spin
school,
out into stuff.
My lit and comp teacher, because like at the start of every class, we have to read a book of our choice for 15 minutes. And my lit and comp teacher is just like, you can read whatever you want. Reading's reading. You can bring a handful of comic books and read that. You can read like Berserk, the manga.
I'll be like, you can read anything but Berserk. Don't blink your eyes like that.
I draw the line.
But no, that's awesome. That's awesome. And when is that panel again? You said
it's
Saturday?
I believe it's at 1:30 on Saturday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'll post
Very
about
cool.
it. Yeah, definitely on my.
That'd be awesome. Just sitting there in costume as one of the panel members. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna be Hera up there.
Yeah, I can't take it off. Once I get Hera on, she's on.
What is
for the long haul.
just getting into costume from beginning to end? What is the time? It's like 3-hour process. 2 hours.
Oh no. Especially with a Mandalorian, once you get that down with the snaps and the Velcro, it's actually relatively easy.
Right. No, but I mean Hera, because you got makeup now.
Well, luckily Hera, I'm actually glad that it's going to be a little bit cold and rainy this weekend, because she has a full leather jacket.
A lot of
gloves.
layers. Yeah.
Right. I was sweating. I did modify a vintage leather jacket for it. So I found it at the flea market. And I modified it and did the patches and everything. But that means it's a good quality leather jacket. So it's very warm. But it doesn't take as long. Once you get the process and you've practiced a couple times with the body paint, it's not too bad. So I think Hera is like, she's probably 45 minutes to an hour to get ready.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Nice.
It's actually not that. It's not that hard. It's not much harder than putting on regular makeup. You just have to pack it in, put the setting powder on. Yeah, pack it in, put like, essentially when you feel like you've put too much on, put a little bit more on.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Yeah, everyone go check out the panel on Saturday.
Sarah, what's your Instagram one more time? You want to spell it out for everybody?
Yeah, my Instagram is Ms Marauder. I don't know why I picked one that was so hard to spell, but it's MS_MARAUDER.
Very cool. Yeah, so go follow her, go check her, visit her at WonderCon, go say hi. That would be a lot of fun. Speaking of perfect cosplays, this is gonna be a transition. Speaking of perfect cosplays that I've always wanted to do with my family, but they refuse to, no matter what.
Isn't that what you
They refuse to do it around Halloween time. They refuse to do it around Comic-Con. I'm talking about, I just want to get in a Ghostbusters jumpsuit and just be Ghostbusters for the weekend, right? Put on the jumpsuit, put on the backpack, go out there. But everyone in my family refuses to do it with me.
I've never refused to
kind
do
of a
it.
bummer. It's very
Very
sad.
just
Talk about
procrastinate
an easy cosplay.
Right? That's what I'm saying. It's easy and it'll be fun. You get to walk around as a Ghostbuster all day. Who doesn't want that? Unless you watch the new movie. I can see why you might not. Ghostbusters Frozen
I take it you
Empire.
didn't like it, huh?
No, so I feel like you have a better opinion of it than I did. I liked it, but
I like the first one better, but it wasn't bad,
I have a lot of complaints, or I have some complaints. But Jason, go ahead. Tell us what you thought about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire real quick. Remember, spoiler free. What did you think of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire?
It was good. It was decent, but it was like definitely didn't pack the oomph of the first one,
Of Afterlife?
Afterlife, yeah. Not that Melissa McCarthy bullshit. No.
Hey, I will actually
like that one.
2016 is better than both of these movies combined.
Oh,
I will fight to the death on that one. 100%.
That's its own podcast right there.
Easy.
I was gonna say I don't know the context, but those seem like they're fighting words.
No. They are. But so let me tell you why though. So the problem with I liked Afterlife, right? I liked Afterlife until the last quarter of it. The last quarter of it felt like, it was moving forward. It was like telling this really beautiful story that was kind of rooted in the past, but also moving the story forward. The end of Afterlife kind of just fell apart for me because of the fan service aspect of it. And it was so concerned with being like, hey, remember these guys? These were the Ghostbusters. This was your past, right? Like it seemed very forced and very like, they just kind of threw them in there. Unnatural. It didn't feel like it had to be there, right? Like they could have told the story without them and it would have been more successful. Like it would have moved the story into the future a little bit more. But what they did at the very end is they kind of grabbed them going into the future and pulled them back into the past. And I feel like that's the problem with this movie, is that it's so rooted in, they're trying to make you remember that the OG Ghostbusters are there, and they're so concerned with reminding you about that the whole movie, that the movie doesn't move the story forward. Like it refuses to become its own thing, right? It's so based in nostalgia that it doesn't want to move anything forward. And that was my biggest flaw with this one. It was a lot of fun and I really, really enjoyed it. But I still feel like it's time to move ahead. And that's why 2016, the Paul Feig one, actually attempted to do something different and unique with the franchise. And it wasn't stuck in the past. Like it was these brand new characters, this brand new, it was almost like an alternate dimension version of these characters. But it attempted to do something fresh and unique instead of going to the past. And that's, it wasn't stuck in nostalgia. Like it was doing its own thing. It was trying to be Ghostbusters 3 without being like, remember Ghostbusters 1 and 2. It was its own thing and paved a way forward. And I feel like the problem with these newer ones is that they're just so stuck in the past that they're not trying to pave a path forward. They're just trying to stick with the past instead of moving things ahead.
Do you think, I'm not a Ghostbusters,
please.
Ghostbusters fan, but I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think it's even possible for them to get past the nostalgia factor? I feel like if they would have done it, they would have done it already, right. Or will they always be like, you guys are here to see Ghostbusters?
All those fanboys are still alive, Like
no, they are.
Just wait for them to die off.
No, they are, and that's part of the problem, right? It's like I feel like because you have this wonderful new cast, right? Like you have people like Paul Rudd, Carrie, what's her name? Carrie Coonan, I think. Carrie Coon. You got McKenna Grace. Like she is freaking amazing. Like
that's the young girl, right? She
she's stole the movie. Like he's hardcore. Like it was her story, it was her movie, and she was just like she stole it. Like it was her thing. Like it was her show, and I absolutely loved it. And Finn Wolfhard, you have this kind of, they're descendants of the Spengler, Egon Spengler, who has passed away since, and they're trying to kind of live their new lives while being Ghostbusters. Essentially, they moved to New York from Ohio into the firehouse. They're back in New York. They're trying to run the Ghostbusters. They're trying to basically be the Ghostbusters now. McKenna Grace's character, she's trying to figure out her lot in life. She's a teenager, and like she's not old enough to be a Ghostbuster now because she's a minor, so she can't do what the family's supposed to do, what her destiny is. So she's trying to find her place in the family and in the world, essentially. The problem is there's like so many characters in this movie and so many new characters that they try to introduce that it just like cuts from like vignette, vignette. It just bounces all over the place. Like it doesn't focus on characters long enough for us to really care about them. Her story would have been amazing. Like if you took the original Ghostbusters out of this story, I feel like the movie would have just been solid. Like it would have flown by. It would have been like even tone, everything. But they also did this thing where they couldn't figure out what the tone wanted to be. It was like serious and dramatic, but then it got funny like the original Ghostbusters, and then it got scary, and then it was like this whole thing. And the beautiful thing about the first two Ghostbusters is it finds the balance between horror and comedy, and it really plays with that kind of trope a little bit. This one didn't really know which direction it wanted to go, and it just, I don't know, for me it was fun and I really enjoyed it, and it was more in tone with the original two Ghostbusters than I was expecting it to be. But it still overall fell flat. I feel like this whole nostalgia thing that we're on right now as a society needs to stop. Like it needs to stop. Like I understand reviving old franchises and reviving old characters, but let them go and create new stories. And that's kind of the problem with Star Wars right now, is they're so kind of invested with, I love Star Wars. We love Star Wars, but like it's well, I know they're attempting to move forward, right? Like
they already have let go of all the old characters.
They have,
except for Chewie.
And I'm happy about that. And I hope they keep doing that though. Like things like the Acolyte.
Yes, Acolyte.
Let's talk about that for a second.
I'm so excited
because I want to talk about that. Yeah.
No,
I was when you were talking about Ghostbusters, I was like, hold on, how can I make this about Dune? If I try to go watch Ghostbusters, I'll get to the ticket window and then black out and then just get a Dune ticket again.
Also, that's the costume I would love to make. Like
Dune.
Yeah.
But just real quick,
but it also looks very uncomfortable.
My official review of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is going up on pastramination.com, so check it out. I don't think it's up yet, but give my official score. Overall, I thought it was fun. Like I had a good time with it. It's not a movie I hated, but it was frustratingly so. Like I had a lot of frustrations with it. And
hey, the Fire Master was awesome.
Oh yeah, the Fire Master was awesome. Oh yeah, yeah,
that guy's hilarious.
Oh, Camille Nanjiani.
Yes.
Yeah, that guy is amazing, and Patton Oswalt's in it, and it's got this great cast.
Freaking Patton Oswalt. That was hilarious.
I mean, that's the thing. I love Paul Rudd. You can't go wrong with Paul Rudd. I love Camille Nanjiani. I love Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, no,
like they brought out all this, like my favorite comedy stops.
The part where Bill Murray's throwing the pin at his head.
Oh, that's great. Arturo, I have nothing against nostalgia. I just wish we'd kind of
executed better.
Great. Yeah, exactly. Executed better is all I wish. Is all I hope. But and the OG characters were better utilized in this than they were in Afterlife. I will say that as well.
I heard Bill Murray's appearance is painfully obvious that he came in for a couple of hours.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, he came in
all he would agree for. Like,
yeah. But yes, let's talk about Acolyte real quick. The trailer dropped this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are the Star Wars fanatics here. What do y'all think?
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Sarah? I'm really curious.
This is the coolest poster I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my gosh.
Poster. I was like already sold.
The hell with the blood trailing off.
Yeah, with the blood.
Mm-hmm.
I have many friends that are big High Republic fans. I'm all I know about the High Republic I know through Star Wars kids books that I read with my daughter. I love Jedi. I'm so excited. I love Jedi. I love lightsabers, and there are so many lightsabers in that trailer.
So many. Ugh.
I think it's funny the reactions that people have to it of like, it's breaking canon because they said they hadn't seen a Sith in a million years, and this is only a couple hundred years before they say that. And I was like, yeah, have you ever heard of like a cover up? Like when they want to say that the Sith aren't back, and they like I think maybe we should just be excited about lightsabers.
Yeah, and also can we normalize just like every day, right? Like,
Yes,
just wearing
go into the mall in sweats and a lightsaber.
Hey,
you know,
people can open carry. So I mean,
I gotta go to Albertsons. Where's my lightsaber? Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm ready to go. No, Target run, lightsaber.
And speaking
I think you stole it or something, you know.
Yeah. I'm the kind of person that I liked Solo.
Me too. Thank you. Me too.
I'm also an ardent Last Jedi defender, but I like Solo because it's one of those things where
that was the second one. No.
I like a
Last
thing.
Jedi.
So I'm excited to be in more of that thing. That's like, if I like the forest, I want to go to as many forests as possible. So even if a Star Wars property is not perfect, say Book of Boba Fett, I'm still excited to learn more.
You need to come on more often.
The Tuscans, right? I'm excited. What is the lore of the Tuscans? I didn't know I wanted to know that. But when I watched him snort that lizard into his nose, I was on board. And then we were like, hold on, let's back up. Let's make it the Mandalorian 2.5. And then I got mad. But so I'm excited to meet more people that use the Force. I'm excited to learn more about that era. Going into an era of Star Wars that we haven't been in before is very
cool
to me.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
KOTOR.
What?
Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah. No, I think that would be really cool. But yeah, it will be. I'm really, really excited for it as well. And I also love The Last Jedi, and I will fight to my last breath.
Yeah, when you were describing Afterlife, you're like, it was really good up until the end when they decided let's not do new things, let's go back to nostalgia. And I was like, you just described the Star Wars. They tried something new. Some people got mad, and they were like, no. Here's old characters.
This kid thought I was joking when I say that I believe The Last Jedi is the best out of the new trilogy, like easily. And he thought I was kidding. And that's exactly what I was talking about. It's not afraid to do something new and different. And that's why I liked it so much. Because
I didn't really like
stuck
the
in the
sequel
past.
trilogy as a whole.
Yeah. And Arturo, just real quick, I love nostalgia. Listen, we're all nostalgic. I mean, nostalgia. All nostalgia stuff, right? I totally I'm there.
We're all on the nostalgia train here.
It's just the way it's executed and the way they use it in movies like that instead of moving things forward. And The Last Jedi is a perfect example of that, right? Like you can do something.
I
different
love that ending fight scene, though.
Yeah, no, it's great.
It's interesting when something when you love nostalgia and when something is clearly pandering to nostalgia that you're not a part of.
Oh, sweet. Look at
that. I loved Obi-Wan Kenobi as well because I love little Leia. So I was at Star Wars Celebration when that premiered, and everyone texted me. Everyone that went to the Kenobi panel got in early to see the first 2 episodes. And so I couldn't watch it until midnight, but all my friends texted me as soon as they got out of it, and they're like, no spoilers, but get your sewing machine ready. And I was like, what, in Kenobi? And then I was like, oh my God. And I was like, dang it. And I was like, all right, little Leia. So we have done Kenobi and Leia.
That is so cool.
From her outfit in that. But it's one of those things where I am a Rebels girl through and through. I love Rebels. It's up there in my favorite things that Star Wars has ever done. But I wasn't ever really into Clone Wars. I didn't get that into Clone Wars.
I don't even know what that means, to be honest. Yeah. So
wrestling.
I know what he is, but I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Sorry, Sarah, what were you saying?
I like Cody Rhodes.
So when people talk about like Bad Batch and all the Anakin stuff from Kenobi, I was like, that's not my nostalgia, but I'm happy for you guys.
Right,
I'm happy that you guys
watched the Bad Batch.
I don't know the clones. I don't know them very well. I learn to love them through watching the Bad Batch?
First few seasons, there's not a lot of like other clones. It's just mostly the Batch.
Yeah.
there's a cosplay in there that I think that you and your daughter would do amazing.
Actually,
Oh, is it Omega?
It's Omega.
Omega and Wrecker.
And Wrecker. Yeah, she has not stopped. She has not finished Rebels yet. We're watching it right now. And she hopes that at the end, Hera and Kanan will get married.
Oh, no.
Oh boy.
Oh,
You might want to stop watching.
Yeah, I was like,
wow.
She goes, we finished, I think, season 3, and I was like, what's your prediction? She loves Maul. I was like, what's your prediction for the end of it? And she loves that Kanan is blind now. And she goes, I think at the end, Kanan's gonna get his sight back. And I was like,
you said she loves Maul?
Well,
you're not wrong.
Not wrong.
But not in the way you think.
Yeah.
Like,
all right.
But we're also
Alrighty.
going to go in Ontario. There's a Comic-Con coming up called Comic-Con Revolution.
Yeah.
That all of the Rebels voice cast is there.
Sweet.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
That's an easy one too. That's right
gonna
there.
go there. Yeah, I live in
Not
Ontario,
much
so
of
it's
it.
literally 10 minutes down the street for me.
Dude,
so
your
we're taking
backyard.
over.
I'm in Chino, by the way, just so you know. I'm next door. So
I grew up in Chino.
oh,
Nice.
awesome. I went to Ayala in Chino Hills.
Oh, see, I went to Catholic school, so.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But yes,
I live
I
off
know.
Ramona in the 60. That's where I'm at.
Nice.
If that rings a bell.
What's your
Yeah, my
address?
parents live off Ramona in the 60.
No way. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like Philadelphia and Ramona. That's where I'm
yeah,
at.
they're Philadelphia and
Pipeline?
Monte
or-
Vista.
Monte Vista.
Put
Okay.
yourself by
So
some
yeah.
train
well,
tracks there.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Crazy.
So I'm a little scared for her, but she loves Chopper. We're big Chopper.
Yeah.
Number one
cool.
Chopper
Good
to
fans
know.
here in our house.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've got my
awesome.
little
He's,
chopper.
he's always here with me. He's my co-pilot.
Yep, there you go.
I have all the sizes of Chopper,
Hera here.
As you should, as a hair, as.
but then
hair.
I do have Robert Pattinson, Bruce Wayne,
That's
Yeah,
that's a must.
my number one.
Awesome.
My
Well, very
favorite
cool. Well,
Yeah,
I
here's
think
one.
we're about ready to wrap up, guys. Thank you all for joining. Yeah, we love your action figures.
Yeah,
I gotta.
little guys.
I'm gonna look up this Cody Rhodes stuff. By the way, Arturo, I gotta see what's
Maybe
going on.
or don't.
I will get back to you next week on the new episode of Pastrami Nation Podcast. So first of all, let's go around the table and let everyone know where they can find us. So Sarah, where can they find you again? And I know you already said it earlier in the show, but if you can tell them where they can find you and online and yeah.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Ms_Marauder, like the Marauders from Harry Potter. I'm also on TikTok, but I post very sporadically. We went viral randomly on TikTok, so
cool.
I have 30,000 followers on there for no reason. Because
awesome.
a video of my daughter in a Bakugo cosplay has 5 million views.
Sweet.
That's really
telling
cool.
the audience she's going to kill them.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's why.
that's what it gets. Yeah. So
Definitely
mostly
something
we're
we
on
say.
Instagram. Yeah, most of my ramblings about Dune are on TikTok, but all of our most of our cosplay content is on Instagram.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
we'll
Very
be
cool.
at if you're going to WonderCon, we'll be at the Star Wars meetup on the South Stairs at noon. And then we got our panel about teaching with comics right after that. So
Awesome. Very cool.
and yeah, be on the lookout if you're there Friday. Be on the lookout for a giant inflatable pink shark with a tiny.
So I gotta
little
tell you, like,
Pomona.
Nomona was one of my favorite movies last year, like hands down. Like
Oscar
not just
nominated.
animated films,
Oscar
also-
nominated.
I was like so close to. I love Spider-Verse 100%. I think it's amazing, but I was like, I love Nimona. Like I was rooting for Nimona secretly, even though I wanted Spider-Verse to win. But
and then neither of them won. So
yeah, well, I know.
Let's go, Miyazaki.
But
yeah, I never get mad at Miyazaki, but
oh, you
but
can't,
yeah.
you can't 100%. So Christian, where can they
I
find
mean, he's
you online?
retired.
I got mad at Miyazaki. You
What?
can find me at Christian Nacorda on Instagram. Come draw with me. Come paint. Let's paint.
Very cool. And of course, you can find me on all the socials, Kevin_Hoskinson, Kevin Hoskinson, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever the heck it's called now, all that fun stuff. And also don't forget to follow Pastrami Nation on all of those as well. You can find Pastrami Nation on Pinterest also. They have a pretty big following there, so definitely go join us on there. Stay tuned for Pastrami Nation for some really cool articles, reviews, and stuff coming up as well. PastramiNation.com. Meet Pop Culture. Thank you all for joining us again. Remember, every Tuesday we are here. We are live. There will be an audio version of this released in about a week or two, so make sure to look out for that too on all of your favorite podcast players. Jason, I would ask where they can find you, but you don't have. I mean,
you know where they can find me.
Look up Jason Smith. You'll find it.
In the wind.
Yeah, you'll find it in the wind.
There's only one of me on there.
Sarah, this has been such a pleasure. Can you not be a stranger and please join us in the future?
Yeah, definitely.
Is that
yeah,
okay?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, we'd love to have you back. We could have some Last Jedi talk. We could talk about Dune. We can talk about anything.
Oh yeah, we sure could have some Last Jedi talk.
Oh, we will.
Let me talk about Dune.
Yes, let's do a Dune.
Please let me talk about Dune.
Oh,
I'm so down.
All I want to do, I'm afraid I'm alienating my friends and family because all I want to do is talk about Dune.
I can agree.
You're more than welcome to come over here and talk about Dune anytime you want. We really enjoyed having you on, so thank you for joining us, and thank you all for watching. We really, really appreciate it. Remember, like and share and all that fun stuff. We will see you guys next week. As always, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye. See y'all. Let's end.